Ultra Fireman!
Get ready for a Tommy Turbo Masterclass. Tameless Tuesday is here. And the boys are hard as a rock. Don't be a weak-gutted dog. Leave that for Jamin Salmon. Get ready for the best Supercoach show on the planet. It's so good, it's better than Lego. You're now listening to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. Here's your host, Brandon Savage.
Hello and welcome back to the Supercoach Experience Podcast. I'm your host, Brandon Savage, the coach of the Jamin Salmons, who are starting. We are here for round 16 bye round, and Jesus Christ, what a weekend of Supercoach it was. What a weekend we got coming up. Origin sides have just dropped, and fuck me, Freddie is a dog. Here to dissect it with me is the coach of Tripjacker Mafia, Mikey. I was going to say Timmy.
Yeah, because he's used to having Timmy sit next to you. But yeah, good to be back on. My first one in DM podcast. So yeah, only a couple of weeks till I fly to Europe now. So trying to just fit in as many as I can. And it's been a pretty big week of Supercoach. Pretty underwhelming score by myself. 1281 is not that bad, but man, you remember I sold Garrick 2 weeks ago. Come back to bite me in the ass.
I didn't buy Garrick in the first place, so it doesn't hurt as much. But
yeah, it hurts me in a sense. I just hope the guy that I have now in Talakai really puts on a show this weekend. But other than that, yeah, you kind of swayed me to go Gutho instead of Moses. Ended up being an extra 70 points. And at the start of the week, I was 700 with only not many to go, 3 to go on a captain. I was like, shit. And yeah, yesterday's game saved me and only lost 400 spots, so 1,800.
And also, I've got the 2021 champion, Timmy Moody. How are you, Timmy?
I'm good. I just wanted to come on the podcast just to sort of give some advice to anyone that's outside the top 2K. And obviously you guys can speak to those guys that are still in the hunt for the overall glory, being that you're in the top 2K.
We always need someone who's outside of it, just to give a different...
Isn't Jake out of it as well?
Oh, Jake's plummeted massively.
He would be. I still think you're ahead of Jake.
I'm definitely ahead of Jake.
For anyone that doesn't know, Timmy loves to give a lot of banner in the group, and he was giving me a lot of banner when I was sitting in 5,000, and I told him, give me time, I'll overtake you very soon.
Let him cook.
Too quickly.
It only happened 3 weeks is all it took. And yeah, it's like a little personal win. In the end of the day, he's always going to have one over me because he's won the damn thing. But I'll take the small wins.
Timmy, I've got to say, you're having a pretty good week. You made some good decisions. Reece Walsh, captain. Brilliant.
Yeah, well,
Sean, captain.
Yeah.
Sean Johnson, vice captain. 120, you'll take it.
Some good things going on, but look, it was a disaster week for my side. Obviously there was, dodging Buller so many times, not having him and him going off. I had Junior Tupu, who just didn't do it again for me. There was Eli Katoa, who went down with an early injury. Very annoying. I had to play Sony Luke with Hosking pulling out. And there was one that was even worse. Oh, yeah, Will Kennedy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was really tossing up between him and Gutho, and I just really was chasing that upside, and I thought, Gutho can plod sometimes, and I looked back at his scores, and none of them were really that exciting except for that 4 game one, and then he goes and puts 3 on in the first half, and I'm like, Jesus.
Yeah.
So that was a big swing.
Yeah, I got in Gutho myself this week, and I think that was the difference because at the start of Monday, I was 9 out of 10 in all my leagues. Ended up being 9 out of 10. Captain Gutho. I think all weekend I was thinking about it. I was like, I think Gutho's the guy to go over Moses. I don't know. Moses just seems too obvious. I just need to think about it. And I was feeling Gutho. I convinced Mikey to do it as well, and he was really unsure about it still, but... made some good points, and me, Mikey, and Hads all wrote it together. It was a good watch.
100%. Yeah, it was good. I only ended up getting, so Moses got 89, but those extra 48 points adds up.
Yeah.
So I would have lost, I reckon, another 500 if I didn't do that. So it was good. He scored that first one. That shouldn't have been a try. I was like, all right, cool. It's a bit of luck in our way.
But he also got ripped off a try assist at the end as well.
Yeah, but that's probably his karma.
No,
'Cause,
you deserve that.
Come on, man. Yeah, but he got to try that. He shouldn't, so it worked out. But yeah, it was looking like it could have been a 158 score.
It was pretty bad. Like that first one definitely shouldn't have been a try.
No
but that
try.
second one, like, are you meant to run through the line or stop at the line? I feel like you get penalised if you stop in the line, but if you run through the line,
They choose when they like. They change it when they want to use common sense, and I just wish they always chose with common
yeah,
sense.
agree. Timmy, you did have a good week.
No, it was a shocker.
Actually,
It was a shocker.
Jake was looking good as well. He got in Jerome Hughes. He had a couple of good players, but then he had the Katoas. Eli
That was
Katoa.
just pure unlucky.
Eli Katoa and Sione Katoa, both from different sides. That's just an absolute killer. But Timmy, tell me through your thought process. You were here last week, going Kennedy over Gutho, and looking back, do you think you would have changed your mind, or is that all hindsight?
Oh, definitely hindsight. And I mean, I felt like this matchup last week was definitely set up for Gutho to score more points against the Dogs than Will Kennedy would against the Storm in a side that's fairly, the Storm got pumped last week. So they were always going to turn up one way or another. But I didn't think them turning up would mean that the Sharks would completely fall apart to shit. So, yeah, I just thought that I looked at the next run of games for the Sharks and I really like it. It's like, I think it's Tigers, Bulldogs. So I got Dogs this week, the same matchup that you guys got last week.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't mind it. And I always go back to highlights. Like I end up when I'm undecided and I was watching highlights, and obviously it's a silly thing to do because you know what type of player Gutho is. He's an effort player. He's in everything, so that's how he scores his points. But when I watched the highlights, Kennedy was looking pretty like elusive and stuff. So
They're
look,
both pretty similar in the fact that they love to support run, and I think although it wasn't a good move last week, you could pay some dividends this week. But then on the flip
it's just going to be
side,
hard to make up that 100 points over this next 4 to 5 weeks or whatever it is.
plus
So I'll probably
Guffo's
have
got
them
the
both.
goals this week, so that's a kick in the guts too. With Moses being out, he probably has a more dominant.
That was part of
play.
my thinking. I thought that Moses was going to get the call up, so I figured, look, if it's only Gutho in the side, I didn't know how it was going to work out. It could be great for him doing everything, but I thought if their side's not playing well because they've got too many out.
There's usually one guy with Gutho. There's usually a Moses or a Brown there, and he picks up the slack. I don't think I've seen him without both. So
gonna be interesting.
I do
So
understand.
that was part of my thought process. I was like, well, if the Sharks are like basically kind of a full side and are like working well together, then that'll give Kennedy every opportunity with good attacking moments. Whereas if if the Eels are just sort of chasing their arse all game and, Gutho's just trying to bloody do heroic tackles and hold-ups or one-on-one things and stuff like that, then maybe it might be good. But it didn't pay off last week, so it's probably not going to pay off long run.
I think as we saw on the weekend, Gutho, he needs a good half to put him into the space. Every single attacking stat was because someone else put him into good space. I think he can do it himself, but I understand the thought process there. What's your plan this week as a non-Buller owner? So I don't really need to ask the question again this week, is Buller a buy or not? But
Yeah.
his break-even is 20. Obviously, you're not going to go there. How are you going to counteract not having Buller? Are you going to load up with 2 fullbacks to make sure that the Buller owners can't get at least one of them? Or what's your plan there?
Oh, I'll quickly butt in. So my plan, the reason why I didn't have Buller is because I already had a double fullback plan that played buys, and I had Gutho. I've had Guffo for a bit now, probably around 11 or 12 I brought him in, and I brought in Drinkwater similar time, and I've only had Drinkwater for 3 weeks now, but he pumped out the 115 and then a 103, and he's only 3% owned, and he now costs owners an extra 120 to what I've paid. So I think I can counteract it this week. He plays the Panthers, which are actually missing the 5 stars because they've chosen to rest Crichton by the looks of it, because I'm pretty sure the 18th man can play. But either way, it doesn't matter. He's not named at all. They named a pretty similar side to what I thought they would play. And, yeah, so due to that fact, kind of lost what I was talking about. But
Timmy, you got Reece Walsh.
Yeah, I'm probably just going to hold on to Walsh. That was my plan. He's the one Origin guy I've told myself I'm not getting rid of, because I think it will be hard to kind of get him back in that position, just because I'll probably end up liking the other people I end up chucking in there anyway. So yeah, I just want him. I want to have him all year. and I'm just going to run the one fullback. So it'll be Will Kennedy over this little period, and then there might be, if Walsh doesn't back up next week, I might not have a fullback for round 17, which is a bit awkward.
You know what's funny? I actually didn't have a look at your team until halfway through the Sharks game, and I just had a feeling you got him Will Kennedy. I just know that you
These
like
are the things
these.
I do.
Yeah, you just like these type of plays. You like to keep quiet about it as well. But I guess Origin selections. Mitchell Moses selected at number 7. I guess upon reflection, he probably is one of the better guys for the role. Like Hines hasn't played a top 8 side and won in quite a bit. He has
a do or die.
It's a do or die. He hasn't proved himself, but
It's a bit slack.
I don't know. I just feel like all the other changes, it's Freddie correcting himself from his mistakes in round 1, and even still, like Stefano, I feel
like they're mostly just forced changes. Like Latrell's coming in because he's now available.
Yeah.
The
They're
two hookers are
correcting the
coming in
TPJ.
because Appy's not available.
Yeah, TPJ.
It's not much of a thing.
No, he's
Yeah.
correcting it. But yeah, I
In
know.
key positions and everything, there's not, like, obviously, and then the Cleary's out sort of thing. So I think he's sort of stuck with the core.
But like Stefano in for TPJ, like I feel like Linu should have got that.
I'm a Penrith fan, but I agree with Lena too. He doesn't play massive minutes, but he comes on and he adds what you want from that, that bench is for them to come on and add that side to another level, like what Liam Martin did the last game. And he does that for Penrith week in, week out in the big games, and I think he would have been perfect. I know more people had a cry on more Penrith players, and probably a lot of people were sooking about Jerome Luai, but realistically, Luai wasn't totally horrible. He
was one of the better players.
Yeah, but it's just he's one of the most hated players in the NRL. He probably is the most hated player in the NRL.
Yeah, he probably
and everyone
is.
thinks I just defend him because I'm a Penrith supporter. It's not one of my favourite Penrith
Yeah.
players, but he copped way too much slack. It's do or die for him as a super coach player. Me and Savs were talking in the car. I don't know if I want him to win or lose this game. I kind of want him to lose this game so Freddie gets sacked, but I want him to win.
You want him to win every time, bro.
Yeah, no, but I know that. Yeah, you do,
No,
but no, I want him sacked, and they won't get him sacked. It's best for Blues. So if that means we have to lose,
You know what I'm
Whatever.
bloody sick of? I'm sick of waiting till the last minute, not knowing what the side is. Like Queensland, there was no fuss about Queensland side because we
Yeah.
knew what it was going to be. Every time,
coach.
we've got to wait because Freddie, we don't know what's going on in Freddie's mind. I think
Yeah.
with all these other changes like Robson and Cook, I like it, but
both my
but
hookers.
why did you choose? Why did you choose Hines in the first place? Like
as
obviously,
a 14, yeah, like as you said, Queensland always adapt that mentality where the 14th guys are next up.
yeah, and they have
And
to
they-
bide their time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that they'll
And they
get
get their
they'll get him
chance.
on for middle of the game to have a chance to
Ponga
inject
was a
himself.
14 at one point back in the day when they had too many halfbacks. I forget who it was, but
Yeah, like Ben Hunt, Cooper Cronk, Jonathan
DCE. I
Thurston.
swear DCE was at one point.
DCE was a 14 for a long time.
Like
So
I think it's a bit slack, but and I think he's basing it too much off one game. But yeah, obviously I'm a Blue supporter. I want him to win, and I don't want Colin Matangi to get picked. So I'm being very
so
selfish.
you want him to win?
Yeah, because
of that.
if Hudson Young has a bad game, then I go, let's get Colin Matangi for the next one, and I'll be pissed off.
I think Hudson Young getting picked to start on the edge. I love Hudson Young, but why did he only play 30 minutes in game 1? Was that always the plan, or like because he
I
had a
think-
bad first 30 minutes? Like I'm just worried
I thought
that
Martin might have started, but I think with that concussion that he's not, and I think he was really good as impact. So I think
Yeah.
they'll stick to the same plan.
Well, I guess there we go. Supercoach implications. Mitchell Moses is what I was starting off at. Not playing one of the next 4 weeks, and that game is next week, backing up from Origin on Saturday in Queensland. So there's the benefit. Doesn't have to travel. What are our thoughts on holding or selling Mitchell Moses, Timmy?
I think it sucks for people that have got him, that he's got the call up, first of all, because it was very unexpected, especially with, Hines being assumed the next man up. But I'd probably say it's time to you have to just play the cards you dealt in front of you and probably pass him, fold, get rid of him.
Mikey?
I brought him in last week, I think 18,000 super coaches did, and I brought him in knowing that he could get selected, and I was pretty confident he would, but I did it anyway because I thought he was in for a really good week, and I wanted the points. And looking at it now, maybe that wasn't the right move, but that's what I believe was. And at least I have 60K and 90 points. I didn't really look ahead and realise, okay, after this, he's going to play one of the next 4 if he gets picked. And now that I'm in that position, I'm looking. There's a good replacement. I'm going to go to that replacement, bank some extra money to start bringing in some keepers for the run home since my buy numbers are good. And just, swallow my pride a little bit. And sometimes just a little quick flip play. I got him. Did really well this week for me. Some would have captained this week. You would have been happy with that captain score. And, flip him to Hughes is my plan. I'm going to flip him to Hughes. But before we elaborate, Savs, should we go over how many numbers we have and in our trades, or are we doing that soon?
Trades are always at the end now. But
Mikey's just trying to take over hosting the show midway through. Just a bit of micromanagement.
I think
don't have an agenda.
You make a good point though, because hello.
You're a little bit out of focus.
Oh, okay, yep.
And then we're also all up to leave.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, no, they pre-told us.
Oh, yeah, because you guys set her up and then you going to move to it.
Oh, he told us how to use it before, so.
So sorry, I have to cut a bit out, but so we'll if you just there's lights, if you switch these lights,
Yeah.
we'll turn everything else off. There's lights just as you go down these steps on the right hand side.
Yeah.
Switch those off.
Okay.
Walk out the door and then everything closes.
Cool.
Sweet.
Amazing.
Cool. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you.
Thank you.
Some editing for you.
Unwanted.
Just leave it.
They're
Sorry
okay.
about that, guys.
No, how many times have we done that? We've had dogs barking on the show. We've had many things live on the show. That
Let's just leave it. Let's just leave it.
It's a good experience. Technical difficulty.
They're going out to an event tonight, so I don't know what they're actually going to. Pretty exciting.
Yeah,
That's
good on 'em.
exciting for
Have
them.
fun,
Pretty
guys.
exciting. Exciting for them.
Yeah, sorry. So back to the agenda. Sorry.
Where's our invite? I don't know. Back to, you make a good point. Jerome Hughes, like Mitch Moses to Jerome Hughes banks you, 300?
260.
260.
He's got a very good matchup. Played 3 games only against the Tigers, but with Tigers without Apisi Coruscant. Maybe I forget.
And Brooks.
Yeah, Brooks. And on top of that, Atoika Manu. His lowest score against the Tigers is 108. So not only do you make a bit of money, but obviously the guy that you get in, you're not going to sell Hines if you have Hines.
Real
He's
convincing.
going to be
Real convincing you are.
Yeah, well, a lot of these thoughts also come from yourself. But me and you were going back and forth in this conversation. But with Jerome Hughes, you need to make sure that the guy you're bringing in is going to be a bridge back to Cleary.
Yeah,
so the fact he's got a low break even, as you said, he's got the 100 and something in his rolling average. You want him to start building up so you can almost do a straight swap to Cleary.
That's it.
I'm
So-
all for Jerome Hughes. I was keen on him last week. Sort of said, don't mind him. Think he's had a slow start. Probably due to start picking his game up. I just think it's interesting that people are on him now just because he scored that 119. It's like just people just need to see it and then be like, all right, now I can
It was
do
more
it.
so the Storm show some form because I know he's always got these games in him, but it's just the Storm were doing so bad. I thought it was too risky to, like Jake did the rest, but I just thought, no, go Moses. He's in form. He's trying to play for a Blues jumper. He'll score well this week.
And you made a
Jerome Hughes
good
is a really
point
good play.
before. These players don't just fall off a cliff forever. Like, they come back into form. They come back into relevancy. And fortunately for us, Jerome Hughes does it every year at this point of the year.
Yeah, he's going to have to step up with some of their Origin stars out. Pezzet's a pretty handy replacement in the halves with him, so I still think they're going to have a bit of structure because you still got Pezzet and then you've still got Meany floating at fullback. So they can still put points on and this against who they're versing, like the Tigers, bro. Like,
I think the obvious replacement besides Hughes, Nico Hines. If you don't have him, it's a
if you
nice
sold him,
one.
bring him back. Like, just
That's
swallow,
what I'm getting,
Swallow your pill, bring him back. He's got the high break even, but we've known it. We've seen it all year and all last year. They bullied bottom 8 sides, and they're going to bully the Bulldogs.
And they'll have their turn of being a cranky Melbourne.
Yeah,
Put on
100%.
probably 50, 60 points this week. It's a funny little competition this year.
Yeah, 100%. I think it's a great week to have some Sharks players, and they cover the next 2. That's Hines now for the next 2 buys, unless Freddie goes crazy on the next one. But if they win,
Or
like,
he gets sacked.
yeah, but if they win,
Have
they're
an
not
interim
gonna
Blues
change-
coach?
If they win, they're not going to change the pairing.
No, but if it's a dead rubber, what are they going to do?
Call Jason Riles up.
Yeah, who knows? Who knows?
I guess, he's not playing Origin. Unfortunate for him. Does seem a bit down So there is a world where he could like punch out a few low scores over the next couple of weeks, but he's locked in for the rest of the season for everyone. So don't overthink it.
What if he does? I'm just looking at it now. I didn't consider this. What if he does get picked for the third game? How does that affect him for Supercoach? Will he miss any more
He
games
misses 19.
anyway?
No,
don't know.
they play the bye in 19, and I think so. They've already had 2 buys.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's her last buy.
Their last buy is no, they don't have a buy in 19. They'll have another buy somewhere else,
Round 17 is their last buy.
which is next week.
Yeah, it's next week.
The
So
BE's
next
not
week
big
is-
enough to really want to wait a week either. Like to after, so you can almost just wait till after the bye. But I think you snap him up now. Just take it.
Snap him up, take it. Even if we expected not to get any buy rounds out of him. The fact you're even just getting one, and look at the matchup.
The captain option is just outweighs everything. The last 2 weeks, though, I've captained Tedesco against the Bulldogs, a fullback. I've captained Gutho against the Bulldogs. Do I get him Will Kennedy? Do I get him Will Kennedy and
Instead
captain
of-
him?
Oh, I know we haven't gone over your trades, but obviously instead of your other.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm just thinking, or like this is going too far ahead at the moment. But the Bulldogs are leaking points to fullbacks at the moment. Do you play eyes up and scramble to get Will Kennedy in?
I think if there's a lot of good fullback options for this buy round, and if you're looking to get one, like Gutho and Will Kennedy stand out as 2 great options because they will cover the next 2. Like
Gutho's
that's-
got the nice big score and low BE, and then if you can wait a little bit on Kennedy, he's
You wouldn't, but
Yeah,
because
you
you
couldn't.
want him for this buy round and this matchup.
yeah, true. I think if you want him though, and you want him going forward, do it. But then again, at the same point, I don't like 1 week plays like that Moses 1 week play. I don't like because he's playing the Dogs this week. I'll get him for that.
Yeah, I was
I'd
hoping
get
you
him
didn't
for the
get
fact that
selected.
the
Yeah,
next few
yeah,
games
yeah.
are good as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, I wouldn't. 1 week plays are never.
Yeah.
No, I agree. But back to like Nico Hines against the Bulldogs. The Bulldogs, they've been pretty dog shit the last few weeks. Are they going to show up eventually? Like they've got no one missing to Origin except Adokar.
Well, they've got a lot of injuries. Like they just keep hampering them, but I still think they'll leak points this week. And
Yeah, me too.
that Shark side's do they have? They're not affected that much by Origin, are they? Do they have anyone in Origin? Not one.
No.
Not one. So that's a pretty big call. That's a full strength Shark side. Are they playing at Shark Park?
Yes.
Like, you know what I mean? I got 3 Sharks this week, and it's a week to have Sharks. So, but mind you, as Timmy was saying with the 1 week plays, they do have a bye round next week.
Yeah, that's it.
So, like the last one,
if you've already got enough Bulldogs, Sharks,
and
etc.
Tigers.
Okay, let's go on to team lists, and we'll just dissect that a bit. We've got 5 teams, and it's a pretty
5
big,
games.
5 games. It's a pretty big team list, to be honest. First game is the Cowboys versus the Panthers. The Cowboys, they're pretty depleted at the moment. They've got no Nanai,
Valentine.
but they've
Holmes.
also got Lukey and Leilua in the back row, so they're pretty good there. But the Penrith which is what depleted. Crichton rested. To'o out. Cleary, Luai out.
Liam Martin and Isaiah Yeo. And it's a pretty... Ivan picked kind of how you thought he was going to.
Winners from this one. Tyrone Peachy, he starts.
Yep, so held him myself. You're holding him, hoping he was going to get a start in here. Yeah, that's a win. And also for Hosking owners, which I'm sure you were going to say next.
Hosking starts, and there's no Liam Martin on the bench.
But there's Luke Garner.
There is Luke Garner.
It's the same.
Jamin
goes
Salmon
to 5. Yep.
starts, so he's also a big winner.
Yeah, so you'd assume Scotty's playing way too good. He's going to get 80. So Garner will probably spell. Or then again, it's not Isaiah Yeo at lock because it's Eisenhoof. There's a good chance that
Less minutes, yeah.
There's a good chance that they could switch Sorrow to lock, or one of those Garner might even come on to like one of them might go to lock because Eisenhoof's not going to play 80 minutes. So he might, but I'm predicting that Garner may spell him at some point. But if you've held Hosking and you didn't make that money in selling him like 3-4 weeks ago, we've got him for this point, playing for this week, and hopefully he does well. This is a hard game to tip. The Hearts pairing I'm not too fond of. Salmon playing 80 minutes. I'm not too fond of, but still got a pretty good forward pack, and I rate Tom Jenkins. We call him, me and my mates call him the White Walker or the Day Walker because how white he is. But I think he's going to have a real big game. So awesome play if you haven't seen him play before. So it's a hard one to tip because the last time we played a depleted Penrith played Queensland, we lost. So.
There's a few interesting takes here. Lindsay Smith is going to be probably a winner for minutes in that.
He could play lock. I didn't even
He's been impressive. He's been really
He's
good,
been great,
especially Supercoach wise. So if you jumped on him at the cheap price, you'd be cheering. Obviously, Hosking, Scott Sorensen, Jesus, he's been an absolute beast, and I think a lot of people wouldn't have bought him because they would have thought he went back into that middle
Short term,
rotation.
yeah, Hosking was ahead of him.
I think he's locked down that left edge.
He's the kick-out replacement. He's just re-signed with the club when all the rumours were he was going to go to the Knights. And I really thought we were going to lose him because we couldn't keep him. We kept him, and I'm so happy to keep him. For Penrith fans, he's fast become one of my favourites. He just gives 110% each week, and he's just as damaging as he kind of feels the kicker role well. Made it his kind of his own. How do you feel, Timmy, as a Penrith supporter?
I like him. I think he's a good player. I think he's a bit of a dreamboat as well, which is also good.
Yeah, 100%. How do you think we'll go this week?
My first gut feel was with just looking at the halves that we would lose this one, but then
You look at the
looking at the rest of the
Cowboys,
side, it looks like there's enough.
and they've done a lot of work towards it. Like the Cowboys
Enough
are
of the
missing
skeleton there.
Holmes, Nanai, and Robson. Robson hurts for people that had Robson, but at least I guess I got one buy out of him. I purchased him because he covered 2 buys, so he doesn't get that now. But so they're still realistically missing, and I was spewing that Dearden wasn't the 18th man because I wanted Dearden to miss the game too.
So the Cowboys have just come off the bye, which is a big win for them. They've just pumped Melbourne 45-20 2 weeks ago.
Drinky's playing. Drinky's in his
Yeah,
hot
it's
patch.
going to be a tough one for us. We'll have to sort of, earn the right and get into the grind, I think. And
So it's an interesting one from a Supercoach perspective.
At first, I thought Cowboys massively depleted. Like their forward pack's gone, half of their backline's gone. Tamalolo's
Potter
back.
as well.
Tamalolo's back this week. They've got McLean, Hess in the front row. Jack Granville can do a job and defend at hooker. I was getting in Dylan Edwards this week, but with the Kennedy chat, I'm reassessing that. But I think Dylan Edwards without the halves, he's going to take a big role, and I still like him as a buy this week.
As I said to you in the car, the only thing I doubt with Dylan Edwards is a lot of his tries that he scored this year is a good hole run or support plays, and maybe without some of those key guys like Luai and Cleary, obviously injured, it might struggle for him. He still gets his base isn't bad, but I think a lot of the tries he scored this year are from support running plays. And don't get me wrong, we've seen those Penrith forwards just bust through the line, but that's what worries me because you're going out there with Mitch Kenny and Cogger and
Salmon. The week got a dog.
Yeah, the week got a dog.
The week
So
got a dog.
We didn't bring him this week.
yeah, there's not much.
He's in the car still, but
I brought him too. It's in my car.
There's not much experience, so you know what I mean. It's going to be tough, and I back my team and I believe in them. They're very well coached side. So, but it's going to be an interesting one from Supercoach perspective.
Are we considering? I wouldn't say nothing, but buy around. I'm totally against it, but do you guys?
I feel like we've all got too much money in the bank at this point of time to if we were struggling to afford someone, you might go, I really want that player, not enough. But because we've got that extra money, it'll probably bite us in the bum that we're spending it a bit too frivolously. I don't think you need enough. I think that's not the strategy.
Yeah,
This year with all the buys.
enough of that. Moving on to the next game, Newcastle versus the Roosters, the big one here.
Stinger.
Gregosaurus, he's out.
Mr. Team Bus or something, didn't you
Yeah,
say?
something like that.
So what
It's
team
not even
bus?
in-
What to
To
training?
training or something, I don't know.
Oh, I swear there was something where he didn't make the side. At
That
one
was
point
earlier in the year, something like that.
Yeah. So that's happened again, which sucks because last buy round he pumped out a massive whopper of a score. He's at a good price now too, and if it's only going to short term thing, you don't really want to sell him. He's not really. I'm not planning on selling him, but it just hurts because he's only 17-18%, so it's only going to.
Well, he doesn't
hurt that
play the
many.
last buy round. 675k with a 34 break even. So if he doesn't play next week, that's when we seriously reassess.
Yeah,
I
if he
reckon.
doesn't play next week, then yeah. It'd be
Otherwise,
nice,
it's a season long. keeper.
Yeah,
I
because
think.
his base is pretty good. Like he's low score. And when he scores a try, you get him 75 plus.
Yeah.
Like that's
And
That's
for
huge.
49 on the weekend with doing nothing, I think that's pretty good. But I think on the other side of the park, we've really got to consider this as a VC option. Joey Manu back at fullback. The Roosters look pretty depleted themselves. Their forward pack is just kind of all over the place. Crichton's still on the bench.
Nat Butcher starting prop and Tupanua goes back onto an edge, which I think is good for him.
Nathan Brown, Terrell May on the bench. What are your thoughts? How do you see this one playing out? Newcastle are pretty much full strength.
I reckon I'm back in the Roosters. I'm still going to tip him because I think Manu at fullback Tedesco out might actually help them. I know it might be an unpopular position, point of view, but I think it might actually help him. Billy Smith's back in this week, so that's good for those owners that still have him. Obviously laid out last week. But yeah, you mentioned a lot of those guys. They still got a pretty experienced forward pack. So
Yeah.
it'll be a tight contest. But Manu at fullback, I think is his first, or he hasn't played many from fullback this year. So
I think he's played one
yeah,
because Teddy was concussed.
because he's been pretty average. So I think it's a good thing for owners him going back there.
Timmy, Junior Paugo, the winger for the Roosters. Suali'i is out because of suspension. Manu may go back to centre. There's a lot of risk here, but 53 and 42 points in the last 2 weeks, -7 break even. He's a cheapie.
Oh, I don't want to say no to any cheapies that are right at the bottom dollar after the Buller thing. I feel like if you like him, bloody get him. Is it risky? It might be. Yeah. I don't mind him. Like, he'd scored, I think, 13 tries in 9 games or 9 tries in 13 games in the big difference either way. But in
In the
Reggie's,
Yep.
yeah.
And come from the Tigers Reggie system. Scored a try in his first game for the Roosters and got 42 last week. So that's 2 not bad scores. I'm heavily considering him as a way to finally get rid of Max because I'm looking at the cheap centre wings coming and there's not really many. So I'm just finding it a way because basically I've got an unwanted nuff that I didn't plan on it and I want him out of my side.
How much is he?
Pauga or Max? Max is 275. So I go down to Pauga and bang, 265 and then get that to hopefully make some money because I still want some money at this time of year for the run home.
I think it's really important this year to get rid of your deadwood at this point while you can as well, because by the end of the year, you're not going to have trades. You're going to need to fill that position in your side if someone's a laid out or something.
Yeah.
Example on the weekend, Hosking was laid out.
Yeah, it's just
Thank God I had Sony Luke there. I guess that's a time you wish you had someone else, huh?
It's just the risk is like he could become another Max for myself because Suali is to come back into the side. Paulo, will he come back into the side? Like, there's so many question marks. But if he keeps playing well, it's probably his spot to lose. But he's not even in the top 10 most traded in yet. So I think a lot of other people are a bit cautious. But I'm just going risk the trade to kind of get him. What if he has a great game this week, scores a try, gets 60-70, that's going to be helpful, make a little bit of money. The main thing is too, next week, if I'm carrying a lot of players that are on the bye next week, Max technically adds on to another player missing. I need to have some guys playing next week. So that's the main reason why I want to get rid of Max this week. Get Pauga, hopefully plays next week, and then that way I've got better numbers for next week.
Anyone else from this game, Timmy, that stands out to you that you want to speak about?
To bring in or...
bring in potentially, or you have him in your side and...
I guess Ponga is like still a good thing, I reckon. It's just their draw's tough.
Yeah.
He's still cheap enough. There's still... I guess the 5'8" position is the best place to probably stash him at the moment.
For sure.
Yeah, because there was a fullback spot. I guess you either got Buller and then maybe a keeper, or you've got Buller and another gun guy, or you've got 2 other dudes doing things. I reckon he's worth the... Now that he's not got any sort of question mark over the origin.
He's ruled himself out for the year.
So, I'd say if you're thinking about him, give him a whirl. This game, it could be anything, you know what I mean? I think this could be a bit of a schmozzle of a game.
Yeah, I don't know which way to tip this game. All I know is I think Joseph Manu will score well.
I hope so, because he's been a little bit frustrating. He's looked really out of
his...
his...
He played well at 5'8" when he like the first few times he's done it, but now kind of doing it week to week, it's a bit awkward for him.
He's trying to pass the ball a lot, I noticed. There was a lot
It's
of
weird,
passes,
eh?
and he
It's weird.
looks so weird doing it.
Yeah. I'm very excited to see him at fullback this week. Jackson Paulo is in the extended squad.
So obviously the fact is in the extended squad, like Pauga's ahead in the picking order.
Yeah.
It's just whether or not, like, if Pauga keeps outperforming Billy Smith, then we'll probably see Suaalii come back and replace Billy Smith.
The amount of moving pieces there, maybe it could be one that you can avoid, though. I just feel like you might put yourself in another fee guy situation
Yeah,
where
that's
it
true.
looks attractive enough.
Yeah, that's true.
Then he's out the side, and it's two trades.
I think you're better off using Hughes money to upgrade to like a Carraz.
Which I could make that happen, but then that's putting me in a hole next week because then I have 7 players out next week.
Well, maybe not Carraz. Maybe go.
Yeah, well, I looked at it and I didn't really like the other options, and I thought the fact that I now have this money, that's got to be to get in a gun like Cameron Munster or Harry Grant. Like, I can't just keep tunnel visioning the buys because although I'm making up a lot of ground, I need you need to. Everyone needs to remember
you
there's
could
a long
probably
game.
nuff out later in the year, though. You know what I mean? If you need to get one or two of those guys.
Yeah, but
Maybe-
I won't
maybe-
do that if I already have a.
Maybe
no.
just leave Max and just hope he plays in the last buy round because injuries could happen.
Yeah, as I said, he's down in the pecking order. I guess it's just I've got to take the risk and be like, am I able to lose this trade if I screw it up?
Manly play Parramatta this week. Ruben Garrick back at centre. KO Weeks is the fullback. Garrick, when a lot of us saw him line up at right centre, we'll probably, as non-owners, we'll probably like, yes, this is good. 169 points later. What's your read on Garrick? 788k. You guys both sold him.
Yeah, so I sold
You
him
sold him too.
not this week, like for
Yeah,
this week's
yeah.
weekend. I sold him the week prior.
Yeah.
And it was just of the thought that I was tossing up between selling him and Sivo. Obviously, wish I sold Sivo now. But in saying that, I just thought that without Tommy there, it's not as attractive. And there'll be a few games there where it's not.
And that could be the case this week.
Yeah,
Easily.
So I don't think it's going to be that attractive. I don't think it was his. He was like complimenting other people's brilliance
Yeah.
on the weekend and doing quite well at it. But I think without that other brilliance there, he doesn't make a lot of that on his own. So
Still got Schuster there. I mean,
opposite sides.
yes, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
He's got the future immortal Jake Arthur on his side, so I think that's one to watch out for. But a winner from this matchup here, Ryan Madison playing at number 6, Dijon Arcee at number 7, Clint Gutherson goal kicking, and potentially, or pretty much all but locked in to be the tip of the spear for every single play. What are your thoughts? And Timmy,
Looking at the game now, and Manly's old club, he loves having a little bit of a whirl against them. And just looking at I can see them just sort of letting him, have a bit of a field day.
And he's at Combank too.
Yeah,
He always steps up, like, for these kind of games. And, like, I remember whenever, like, he performs in buy rounds. Like, he got 80 in the first one, which is probably a loopable option or a captain option. Like, you know, the years past, he's always been a good pickup around these times. So, I guess only owned by 9%, and I'm sure other people will be looking to him because, you know, you also
it'd be
get
a
an
great
extra
buy
buy.
still. Yeah,
Get him now before. If you want him, you'd get him now. 138 in his rolling
Manly
average.
looks super depleted. They kind of even look more depleted than Para on paper, I
Which
think.
will also, I think, affect Garrick this week because, look, he scored Garrick when the players were out last time, only scored 40.
yeah,
Which is
and he
kind
scored a
of what made me
try.
sell him.
Scored
Yeah.
a try.
You never know how these games are going to go, though, because there's so many unknowns. It could just be a really clunky, awkward, stop-starty, mistakey sort of game. But
Paris still got on a handy forward
maybe it
pack.
could just be one of those games where it's just the defence goes out the window and people are just throwing it around.
I still like Parra in this one. Obviously, I want Manly to win. Oh, it just depends on who scores the Supercoach points.
It's such a
but-
weak-gutted dog thing to go for Manly when you're a Penrith boy, eh?
Oh, hey, he was a Newcastle fan. Like, you know this.
But like Parramatta's forward pack is still intact. You've got Cartwright, Davey, Campbell, Gillard's there. You got Hopgood at lock. Brendan Hands look very good at hooker on the weekend. So I think they're building and they need to win games. So I think Gutherson's going to be at the centre of that, and he's definitely got to be a VC option with Garrick. I wouldn't be buying him. I wouldn't be putting anything on him. I'd just be happy to have him this week.
I definitely think you want him for the run home, but
Yeah.
I know
Plays
I'm gonna need him at
Melbourne the
some
week
point.
after,
Yeah.
so that could be awkward. Then what's he got after that? Then he's got Roosters.
So it's probably a fade till...
And then a bye in round 19. So there's a bit of an awkward patch for him there where it's...
Or he has a bye in round 19, so yeah, as you said.
So if you don't have Garrick, over the next couple of weeks, you could potentially make them points up. Just make sure pot up. Or don't pot up. Don't go too crazy, but just...
Yeah, I've been
ma-
potting up pretty hard over the last couple of weeks, and
Yeah.
it's been really
But-
hurting me.
But like...
seeing
no,
the foot
but
point, it's been really helping me.
with a week like this, like Kennedy, Hines, Mulatalo, they could put on 100 each. One of them captain. That could just make up all the lost ground you lost last week.
Nick Meaney is another one.
He doesn't have Nick Meaney.
I'm saying he's another option. Like
Yeah,
We're
he's
talking about how I can improve here, Michael.
yeah, well, you could bring him in.
But yeah, I like that matchup, and I think that's a matchup I'm probably looking forward to a lot on the weekend. That one. I think this is going to be a bit of a poo slinger. Tigers versus the Melbourne Storm. Stafford Toa named at 6.
They're going to pump him.
Who?
Like Melbourne are going to absolutely pump him.
Oh yeah, I
That's
think
a poo slinger. Like they'll
I-
be flinging poo at the Tigers.
Nick Meaney. Like you said, they got a pretty good draw over the next few weeks too.
Yeah, like they do cards Manly than Penrith. But yeah, I brought him in. I boosted last week. I did it. Didn't say I was going to do it, but I brought him in.
Do you not have any boosts left?
Use my last one.
I can't believe he's got us any boosts.
Yeah. But do you still have one left?
Nah.
Yeah. I was one of the last.
I just
ones
like
to
putting pressure on someone. Once they use their last boost, they get a bit like, oh, I don't know.
No, because I felt like I did pretty well to hold it to this
Yeah,
point,
no,
and
no,
I
no.
wanted to make the move to upgrade. And Meaney, I'm happy he scored 60 because I think a lot, like if he went 100 plus, more people would bring him in this round. So kicking goals, could have a good involvement in it.
Yeah, that's
this
how I feel
week,
about
and-
Will Kennedy. I'm glad he scored 23 last week.
Exactly.
Yeah, well, basically Meaney scored all his points in goals, not one try,
Yeah.
assist. Like it's pretty crazy. So. I think they can put some points on because, as I said, they're missing Munster, but Pettit's a really good replacement.
I
rate him.
I love Meaney, but I can't do it. I just can't do it because I've got Gutherson at fullback, and to negate Buller's output that he stung me the last few weeks, I need another fullback to make sure that that's a pod. Am I thinking too hard about this?
But Meaney is available in centre wing, right?
Yeah, but
I think, you know what? I've been sort of a bit hesitant. I was a bit like, oh, do I want just two exclusive fullbacks? Because it seems like, but then I'm like, hold on, the dual guys, especially if they're playing at fullback, offer just as much. You know what I mean? To an
I
extent.
know that.
Nick Meaney could have been a way smarter purchase for me, just because that way I've got that dual flexibility to swap between Azarko and that.
You
So
get
over
him
this
for
period.
this game. And
Like next week, I might not have a fullback with Reece Walsh if he doesn't back up. So.
Yeah, you get him for this game. Well, I brought him in knowing, what he could at the Tigers, and he's got a pretty good base.
Fuck, I think I gotta get Meaney.
Kicks goals
don't get
too.
it.
No, but the only problem is other people can have Meaney, and this week I'm spoiling my numbers. I think I might have 12, which I'm not happy with because Marju out. I was planning it pinpoint, but this always happens.
And you
I'm
got
surprised
no boost, so you can't.
it didn't
do
happen
anything about
earlier.
it.
I'm doing 3 trades, getting in Hughes for Moses, Edwards for someone, Tedesco, selling Tedesco for Edwards, or do I just leave Tedesco and he can be that point of difference in the future?
I reckon you leave him for now. If you, oh yeah.
And I'm going Katoa to Hines.
Yeah, see, which are all good, like 3 trades.
I was always going to sell Tedesco this week. After he maxed out, go to a buy-friendly player. Edwards covers me till 19, and then I'll probably just hold Edwards and then trade to my final fullback.
Did you
Either
bring
way,
in
it's-
Edwards?
Sorry?
You didn't bring in Edwards.
I've
did you?
brought him in this week.
Like he's got him now.
Oh
That's
right.
his
Yeah.
trades, yeah. As a pod play.
Oh, Dylan Edwards.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the Potter.
Harrison.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
Okay,
He's
yeah.
talking about a good old Eddie.
Yeah. All right. Yeah.
So yeah, since I thought we weren't doing trades to the end, but I guess we must be near the end. So
We kind of are. Hughes.
Well, now he's trying to have a go at you, telling you that you're not sticking to you.
Yeah, well, hey,
We've
very strict,
spoken about
Mikey.
Edwards. Bateman at lock.
I copped it.
Bateman at lock. You like it?
Yeah, well, he filled in the lock a bit last week, and he's got base there. Like, I don't mind him there. It's fine. Like, I don't expect him to score too many points. I just want him to tackle and get another 60 points. So, happy with the purchase.
Yeah, I'm fine with it.
Last game of the weekend, we've got Sharks versus the Bulldogs. Both sides are pretty much full strength, except Josh Adokar is out. Braden Burns is in. I like Matt Burton as a purchase. Pretty tough draw, though.
It's tough to bring in either of these guys because they got the bye next week. But if your numbers are good, then fine. That's fine because both these teams cover the next bye as well. I don't like the Matt Burton because if they do go rogue for the next game, he is a possible utility option. Like I doubt it, but it's still a chance. And the Bulldogs haven't been going that great. Like he scored pretty well on the weekend. Thanks to Olip who put him through him for that nice try. I think he could do a lot worse things, but I think there's a lot of better options out there, and I think that the Sharks are going to absolutely tail up the Bulldogs this week.
I think so too. I think it's one of them games where they got towed up last week. They can't win a comp now because they've got 50 put on them. But I like the Sharks roster, and if they can get it together at the right time of the year, I can see them potentially doing some damage.
I could see him making the top 4, going in, losing that first game, losing the second game. See you later.
Same as last year.
They'll end the year before that, and every time they make the final series, except for the year they won. I like the Sharks, but until they can start dominating some of these, top sides, then, I think you've got to utilise those stats and apply them to Supercoach. But big win, I guess, is Nico Hines.
Nico Hines is available for round 16 and 19, so I think you lock that in now.
Heavily owned, so realistically it helps and hinders at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, because it's a buy round, we know he's going to be the most popular captain option. Maybe the fact that he's a buy round, some people might, be looping these 80s or 90s. But I now think that Hines is playing in with his matchup, I honestly think my VC loophole score that I would do will increase.
Yeah,
Where
that's
normally
it.
I would take 80 for this round, but if I really think Hines can score well, I'm going to increase mine to probably like 100.
He might really want to open a
110
can of whoop.
No, I think I'd be pretty stupid if I don't like loop 100 in a round. We only scoring 13. I think you got to take it in case a Nathan Cleary happens. Like I've learnt my lesson from.
We're
that.
going to be in the chat having this argument and debate about whether we loop or not.
We had it last time, and I should have looped last. I should have looped last time with the Guffo thing.
I'm going to make my magic number 111. If it's anything under 111.
There you go.
I think
Stick
I'd
to
loop
it.
100, but
Stick to it. The Sharkies backs heavily targeted. I think if you got any of them, you're disappointed if you got Katoa on the weekend because he's just gone back down in price again.
could absolutely kill this week. So
Mulatalo, I'm very happy to have. Got a late consolation try. So, that's always going to happen with Mulatalo. So, I think he's just a ride out to the end of the season, you reckon?
Yeah, I think they've got a good draw, especially towards the back end as well.
I think if there's one centre wing that you're aiming for, he's the guy over Nick Meaney, in my opinion.
who's this Mulatalo?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a hard comparison because you've got a goal kicking.
I'd
fullback.
have them in very similar territories.
Yeah, but with their draw, if you're happy with the Sharks draw, then yeah, 100%. But then also you got Talakai in there too, and that left side got punished yesterday by the Eels, so we know what the Sharks left side can do, and that's only going to benefit Mulatalo as well, as you said.
Here's one I got for you. A lot of people got in Damien Cook. He's been selected for Origin. Going to break Blake Brayley for round 16 and 19 and maybe just riding him for the rest of the season. I think Harry Grant is...
And selling Cook.
Yeah, I think Harry Grant
Do you reckon they would have sold him if he didn't make Origin? Because he's not playing this week anyway. Like with round 6, his team...
But he now misses, he misses 19.
No, because he would have played 19.
Yeah.
So people would have held on to him.
Yeah,
but now
okay.
he doesn't play 16 or 19. And he's not... he got 100 on the weekend. But that was without the big stars, and he's always going to do that because he's got to pick up a bit of slack.
Any chance they go back to Appy for game 3? Is he good
I
to be
feel
I
like
think
it'll
he's
be
ruled out.
Cook.
No, he's ruled out for.
It's like 6 weeks.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah,
nice,
if
nice.
anything, I think they would go. Coruscant would come back in for Robson unless Robson absolutely kills it.
But if he's not going to be available, then that's all good. Okay.
Yeah. It's tough. Like, if you're carrying, like, two good hookers and one of them's not Harry Grant, like, you're going to probably have to offload one to it, and I'm in that boat.
I definitely feel like you want to aim for the bigger upside guys like the halves, the fullbacks, the Nick Meanies and the Mulitalos in the centre wings. But if you do have a spare trade and you've got Cook, like, he hasn't been amazing, and I don't think he's going to be... Like, if you can get rid of him now for Blake Brayley, who finishes his buys in round 17... That's one less hassle later in the year when Rabbitohs have their bye in the grand final.
I don't like
The
it.
only thing is too, if Damien Cook doesn't back up next week, you're thinking, oh, sweet, I got Brayley, but then Brayley doesn't play next week either. So,
But if you're selling Cook,
But the problem with Cook is you might say, like, he hasn't been going to where he scored 100, then last week he scored 80. He's been scoring well, and the main reason I've loaded up on Bunnings, yes, they still got 2 more buys to come. This is only their first buy. This is their first buy. They've got 2 more to come, but their draw is actually crazy. When you look, they're coming into a nice 5-week patch. So there is no way that I don't want to own him. Like, I have Cook and I have Robson. Robson's the guy to go to get to Grant.
I'd prefer to... Oh, for you, Robson 100%, but I think I'd prefer if I've got Harry Grant and Damien Cook...
You wouldn't sell to get a number in a hooker.
I'm
against it.
I'm just not worrying about it. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not doing it personally.
He's
but
not a sell. He's not a sell.
I feel like if you need to get numbers, and that's the way to do it.
If you're right, if you're struggling to get numbers in other positions, which I'd be surprised, then yes, maybe that is a good play because Brayley's base is not bad.
Britton Nikora, 55 on the weekend. Pretty solid. He's looking pretty good. Targets for this week?
I think he's still a massive target. It's just that the Sharks got smashed last week. Had they not got smashed, that would have been a bit better of a score for him. He's been scoring really well. I wanted him and Bateman, but realised that if I had have gone both of them, I wouldn't have been able to get a fullback.
Yeah.
Just because of the way things played out. So, I could only get one of them. But I think it's going to be a tough watch.
I think on the flip side, you could go to Wilton. Wilton's still only at about 10,
he's doing
11%.
well. I think
at one point, he was priced at 660. He's now bottomed out in around 5. He's like 550. So he's pretty low now. The fact is, at that score, he scores lots of tries. He scored a try on the weekend 57, but he has those games where he builds the base and he scores quite a few off a kick, which is why he scored low last week. And if we think the Sharks are going to have a big game on that left edge, he loves running a hole. Maybe if you can't afford Nikora, you could go down to Wilton, who he's not been a bad buy.
I feel like Wilton, you've got to be a Wilton guy. He's one of those unique players where you're either a Wilton guy or not a Wilton guy.
It's like Tolman owning Aiden Tolman. I skipped past it, but Eli Katoa's out.
Oh, did he actually not get named? Because I thought he passed his HIA but had a laceration.
He's not even named on the
I
extended.
don't know how I haven't even picked this up.
That's a stinger for people. Do you have Eli Katoa?
Yeah.
See, that's a stinger for Eli Katoa.
And I was counting him as a number, bloody of course. Everyone would have been.
Well, yeah, we're not allowed to get to our numbers side of things yet, but it's coming very soon to me, so excited to hear. But yeah, that's a big one, man. Because Eli Katoa bottomed out at price. He was a good buy. I liked him as a buy. I almost pulled the trigger.
So did I.
You were very close.
I had the choice between him and Jacob Preston, and I thought just Jacob Preston has the buyer coverage a bit better. But yeah, I've sold Hopgood and Preston and bought them both back.
Is he a holder or a sell? Like, how long's a laceration of the eye? Like, is that how long do you wait?
I
for
feel
that
like
to
he
heal?
always gets a laceration of the eye.
If you're low
He's
on
got some crazy eyes.
Yeah.
if you're low on numbers and there's a good replacement, then jump. But maybe if he's going to be back next week and you got a lot of them to buy.
It's a tough one because, like I said that earlier in the season that when he comes back from concussion, I will eye him off. I sold him, and I wanted him so long. I think the way he plays puts his body on the line too much. He's a sell. Like, he's going to score big, but it's going to even out a few weeks
Doesn't
later.
cover any more buys.
Yeah, it's going to even out when he knocks himself out another week. All right, trades. What are you doing, Mikey?
So I am, as I teased you before, I'm swallowing my pride, and I'm doing Mitch Moses to Jerome Hughes. After the Greg Marzahue news, my numbers, I'm doing all right. I'm at 14 with that trade. So, yeah, I did have 15 with then Robson and Moses got ruled out, put me to 14. I've made that trade to get my numbers up. So I've got 14. I had 14 for the last buy, went up the rankings. I'm pretty happy with that, but I am still heavily considering using one more trade and doing Max Feagai to Pauga. I don't think I'll do an upgrade. I might have a look at it. I really want to bank that money from getting Hughes to then start getting in guys like Munster, and I'm looking past the buys. I've got 13 for the next buy, so if my numbers are good, maybe, yeah. I'm just weighing up that option because maybe, as you said, like holding that trade could be better for me, like saving the 2 next week. But my plan is anyways, if I did get the Pauga one, save 2 next week if I can. So it's all about... yeah, worrying about next week too. As I've said, I've got 6.
Unless he turns into a baller, which I don't think he will, I reckon saving it's the way to go for him.
Yeah, I'm just thinking and looking at next week. If by getting someone like Pauga, it means I don't have to sell Alamotti. And if I keep Alamotti's a number for the next buy. So that's where my brain's at. I really need to get this. I need to turn Max into someone playing and someone who's going to play this week and next week. But at the same time, I'd prefer the cheapy option because... then I can save the money for something else. But that's where the issue lies in. It means I'm risking job security. I think passes the eye test, but the last time I was keen on a guy in Max Vega, it didn't work out. So I am going to heavily think about it. Trades are going to start to get precious, and I think as we've said previously, Tim, I think you want to finish round 19, get out of the buys with 10 trades. I think you need 10 trades.
Timmy?
Yeah, well, mine was going to be real short, simple and sweet. I was just going to go Cleary to Hines, but now with finding out Katoa's not available, Eli Katoa, I'm going to have to make another move. I've got 13 players, but that's with Sony Luke, and I'd rather have 14 plus Sony Luke. So...
he'll probably play bigger minutes this week, but now thinking about it, Eisenhoof's not going to play the 80. Kenny will probably fill in the other minutes at lock.
Yeah, that's true.
I didn't think about that before, but Luke will probably play more minutes than what he has been, as Eisenhoof's not going to play 80.
Yeah, so I've actually got no idea on that because it hasn't been entering my mind. I was just like feeling real good about it too because I was like, yes, one trade. It feels real nice to save a trade. And I was looking at that, leaving me with 16 left, just doing the just Nico. And it felt a little bit nice. But, yeah, I'm going to probably have to use another one. And I'm going to try be calm and not throw up any weird names yet and put any pressure on myself. So I throw up some weird names and then I end up picking the weirdest of the bunch pre-kickoff.
I've got 12 with Tom Eisenhuth. So I'm on struggle street this week. Everyone else has pretty good numbers. I have pretty good numbers for 19, but...
there's always usually one out of the 3 that is, you're not as prepared for. So that's how it always goes.
Yeah, exactly. Built. So this is my lopsided one. I was prepared for round 13.
Well, you got 12. I got 12. That's not that bad. What do you got?
14.
But are you going to have 13?
If I do 2 trades, yeah. I'm not going to do 3 trades.
You'd want to, though, right? Like,
if you could, you'd
because
want
I've
to
got 13 technically with Luke, a part of me just like...
so he has 13, but he's counting it as 12.
Oh, well, there you go.
Yeah.
But see, to counteract that, I would have, like, the first one, I was really worried about Solo, which ended up working out, but I carried a 14 to cover that. So if I've got a guy I'm worried about, I'd carry 14.
Yeah.
But like you said, Savs, earlier, like, if you have quality, which you're happy with the quality you've got in your 12, then that's just as important.
I'm actually very happy with the quality. Like, in round 13, I had Ben Murdoch-Masila. I had, like, Jared Croker. I had...
he scored okay in that round.
He scored okay. Who else was there? There was some dud as well. There was, like...
Sloan,
yeah. Isaiah Katoa. Like, I had 3 duds there. My side here is Clint Gutherson, Dylan Edwards, Taruva, Mulatalo, Joey Manu, Jerome Hughes, Nico Hines, Schuster, Preston, Hopgood, Hosking, and that's it.
Yes,
like, they're all good players. There's a few with big upside. And Tom Eisenhuth, who...
It's tough because I know it's burning you. You want to have 13, but the
can't do it. Yeah. Can't do it.
See, these are where, which you said it's
Are you using
it's
3 trades to get to 12, are you?
Yeah. Sorry?
You're using 3 trades to get to 12?
Yeah.
So it's one of those awkward times you got to just kind of do it.
This is where Sav's motto stings him that the boosts are overrated and you should burn from it. This is where that stings you because having one for this time.
I don't know. I
don't know so much that that's the case.
No, but if you had one now, this is kind of why.
But if he did have one now, he'd be using 4 trades and he'd have fuck all left.
Yeah, but then either way he's already used.
No,
that boost.
I'd be on the same amount of trades.
It doesn't change his trades because he's already used that boost. It could change something in his ranking. But yeah, if you had a boost this week, you're using it to get to 13,
100%.
Right?
But I feel like if I hadn't used it yet, the last 4 weeks I would have used it. I would have been like, I want him.
Yeah.
Wilkie.
Yeah, I wouldn't be too
Okay.
scared when you're listening
Yeah, fair
around, and putting your ear to the ground to see what other numbers people have. I think Mike wanted me talking to his microphone for a little bit.
So a bit of the flaws.
Yeah, don't be too scared when you're hearing people go, I've got 14, I've got 15, I've got 13. All these people bragging their numbers, they probably are carrying at least 2 or 3 duds as well. So,
But there are some that aren't. Like, I don't think I'm carrying a bum for this round. So, but like, it depends. Like, it depends who you classify as a bum, because I guess the only, like, we worked it out in the first round. The only advantage to having more than a 13 is if a guy goes out there and does like a Nathan Cleary. Then it's going to be handy. That's why I wanted to have 15 for 16. I wanted to go hard for one, but I think we're forgetting how precious the trades are going to be come end of year, because you got to deal with a buy every round. We haven't had to deal with that before.
Yeah. I got to say, it's easier than what I first thought it was like years ago. I remember thinking, imagine if there was buys every week, like it'd be carnage.
Yeah.
It's easier than what I thought then. At the start of the season, thought it'd be okay. I feel like every week in between these buy rounds has been carnage. It's been tough. You need trades.
Yeah, 100%.
And like at the start of the year when it's all fine, you had to save it when you had to. Like,
yeah, we need to have a better structure going into next year. Well, assess what the game is, assess what the rules are, how many trades we've got, how many rounds there are, all that stuff. But then be like strict to each other and be like, no, let's save.
We've still got half season to go. So like, I know like I've put myself in a position at 160th where like I'm in a good position and I don't regret what I've done because it's got me to where I am now. But is the ground made up later in the season? Like, is that where the ground can be made up compared to past seasons where everyone's kind of had the same and been able to ride out the rest of the year with their players?
From what I've heard from a lot of other people that have won, it seems to be easier just to hit first and then hold it. You know what I mean? From like X amount of time, which can be hard to do, but plenty of people have done that rather than sort of that. Like, there's been a few on that last round, sort of. It's a fight for. Yeah, that it's still alive, which is exciting, those rounds. But, yeah, I reckon there's so many trades. If we went back over them, we'd have, like, at least 15 or so that we've used already. Didn't they do that?
Yeah, exactly. Exhibit A, bloody Franklin Pele to Ben Trebojevic.
Yeah, but I can understand why he did that at the time. Like, it's to get rid of a bum. Like,
I had
hard to get
Harrison
rid of a
Edwards
front
in
row.
my side. He'd be playing this week, and I'd have. But it's like I haven't made great decisions here and there, but like I'm still where I am. I've made shit decisions, and I'm still where I am. So you could still make shit decisions from now till the end of the year.
Oh, you will,
and still,
and you make some really good ones. That's Supercoach.
Captains.
See, I think it's a pretty open week for captains. I was saying there's so many options. Like all those guys you mentioned, like Meaney, Drinkwater, Gutho, Will Kennedy, Nico Hines. Like there's heaps. Like it's a tougher week to pick one. Ponga.
It's a terrible week, Manu, because you've got to get it right.
Yeah, I think I'm more because it's Nico Hines. He's going to be the most popular, and he plays the last game. I think the play is Pod VC. Or someone you're really keen on into it. So I'm either going to put a VC on. My original plan was Drinkwater, but I kind of like this. Yeah, I've just got to work out how I think Penrith are going to go well. I just like Drinkwater because it's a 3%. That's going to be a pod play. So it's either going to be Drinky or I think it's going to be too hard for me to not do Guffo with the goal kicking.
I'd like to think that Penrith's defensive systems will still be somewhat intact.
Yeah,
they might still lose the game, but I don't think they're going to be a.
And even if that, one thing the trend has been with Drinkwater is even in those games where Cowboys are only scoring 2 tries,
going pretty well.
He's scoring all the tries. So the thing is, I think even in a losing side, he's going to poll well. But I'm leaning towards, I think it's between him or Guffo because Guffo's kicking goals, kind of like the Parasite they named. And yeah, I'm not getting cute with that, see. It's got to be Hines, as I said.
I think so too. Don't get cute with it because like if you're behind in the week and you decide, I've got Kennedy, I'll go Kennedy. Kennedy could score well, but like Nico Hines doesn't need to do as much and could like score double what Kennedy scores, even though Kennedy scores well. So I think just cop it. It could be a week where 100 points is the difference.
It's tough in a buy round. And I've also got Nick Meaney that I'm like, VC on him would be kind of nice.
Yeah, it'd be nice.
But that's why I'm like, maybe I just lean towards the goal kicking, so either Meaney or Gutho, because then if that score, they've got that as well.
Yeah.
Where those extra, like say that those teams smash them, that's an extra 20 points if they kick them. That's enough that gets you from an 80 to 100 and you go bank it. But that's what I mean. There's lots of decisions to be made. Timmy?
Well, I remember being in the last buy round and having the thought that I'd stuffed up the strategy, and midway through the round, and I think that the best strategy for this won't work because I think what you do is you VC in this round the guy you think that's going to score the best, the guy you want to land up with your captain. But that, in this case, for me, is Nico in the last round.
No, but that's fine. That's just as good, I reckon.
Which you'll take as your captain, but I think...
You'd rather the pot option as your VC, right?
Well, you'd rather VC, the popular option, him not go off, and then... Captain's good.
So I'm going to just do Manu VC captain.
I'm thinking too.
Yep, Great, unless the only reason that'll change is if the second trade I end up doing, I bring in somewhere I'm like, oh, they actually are a good thing now. I just don't know.
But you're honestly gonna you think you do Manu over Gutho?
Yeah, I'm thinking Manu. It's either Manu or Dylan Edwards.
Oh god, yeah. See, there's just so many options.
I don't mind Gutho this round. I know it's hard when they do it the last round. You kind of think to back it up and do it again.
I'm thinking that I think he's going to score well. He's going to be in everything, but I don't think he's going to have that ceiling because he hasn't got the halves.
Which he did score 80 last time in the buy round. Yeah, it's a tough one, but as I said, the goal kicking with upside is handy.
Could be bad too because if all the tries are on the edges.
Yeah, it's tough. I think he's going to have to float to both sides too. Look, there's so many options. So I'm not locking any in, but I know we're all going to lock in Hines. We'll see.
Who do we think's the most depleted? It must be Manly. Like
out of
Cowboys,
you'd have to say Penrith.
Penrith by far.
Penrith is missing the most. They're the most depleted. And then I also think the Tigers, because although they're only missing 3, they're missing their hooker.
Yeah.
They're missing Luke Brooks and Otoy Kamara. Like, they're missing 3 pivotal points to that side, to a side that really sucked at the start, got a little bit of mojo, and then they've just had it kicked out of them. So I know where your points are here, so maybe you target that.
I don't think the Tigers will go too bad. Wakeham's good enough to just sort of.
I think he's been okay, control.
Toa's got a running game. He's he'll go okay there. Simpkins a hooker anyway. The rest of their side.
We never really mentioned Simpkins as a buy. 200. I know we're about to wrap up, but 226k, 70 on the weekend. If you want to get rid of Sonny Luke, he could be he covers 2 buys and he's got a low break even now.
But then I guess if you're prepared to nuff him out or have that AE nightmare,
it's a 5 to 6 week play.
I like Jake Turpin better, mainly because De Silva is on the bench for the Tigers. Appy got injured on the weekend, so that just forced Simpkin into playing big minutes. De Silva is on the bench. He'll come on and play hooker, so they might have a 50-30 split.
Yeah, which when last time he did was doing that, he still scored all right.
Yeah, and if he's at the price, like Turpin,
way to get rid
Turpin
of
300k with a -10 break even, playing the Knights the last 2 weeks, 55 and 56 on the weekend in 80 minutes. So
I prefer Simpkin, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like, you could put yourself into a hole with that trade if you don't.
Sonny Luke must have a little brother or an older brother too, by the way. I was watching a New South Wales Cup game and there was a Luke playing hooker.
Isaac?
He was so small.
Isaac Luke?
No.
Elam Luke?
No.
Luke Metcalf.
I'll show you a photo later.
Like, he looked older?
He looked exactly like.
Oh, then yeah, I'd say
Sonny Luke, but a little bit different.
Guys, we haven't got our best bets here at the moment, but make sure to head over to PickleBet.
How would that have won gone last week? Did all those sides
The
win?
Sharks didn't win.
Yeah.
Because they have same-game multis, we've got to be more creative with our bets now because you can do same-game multis. You can bet across different types of multis. So I think best bets will be a luxury, like maybe for Origin or something, and then we'll just post our best bets day to day. We usually post one every day for the games, but make sure to gamble responsibly. You lose more than you win. For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au. Use the code TURBO. We have a new podcast coming out too. me and Mikey just recorded before we came.
Okay, how'd it go?
It was good.
Yeah, it was good. It was fun.
It was fun. So pretty much it's a new series interviewing your favourite Supercoach players or Supercoach podcasters.
Podcasters. So they're not just talking about Supercoach, more so just going into a bit of the backstory of how you got to there. And then just a bit of it, like you listen to these guys talking on podcasts all the time, and just to get a bit to know them. It was fun. It was fun to get away from that and kind of.
It felt very natural, didn't it?
In our case, for me and Sabs, I guess with our one, we're
You used to
talking.
date for a bit, didn't you?
We do talk about that.
Yeah, we do. because we're really good mates. And how we become better mates from Supercoach. Same as with the story of you and Sabs. And all of us, we're good mates from Supercoach.
We haven't slept together yet.
No, we haven't slept together either. So don't start spreading rumours. He's married, or I am straight.
It's all right.
Just letting that know to the viewers, because when you listen to that podcast, I'm just putting it
Yeah.
out there.
You
All
might-
right, really?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But
huh?
yeah, hey, as people fans of the show, check it out if you want to know. Like,
Yeah,
we're just trying a new thing, bro.
So
It's
I'm
fun.
thinking it'll be this Sunday or next Sunday. Most likely this Sunday we'll release it, and then I really need people to get behind it because like we get a good amount of listens for this podcast, but doing something like this, we can't keep doing it unless we get the support. So
Yeah.
when we do release it, we'll upload shorts to get people from Instagram listening to it. But it's really you guys who listen week to week who are going to be the ones wanting to listen to Mikey.
Let us know what you think. What questions do you want Sabs to ask these guys? Like, not only about that, but like, there might be a few things that, listen to it. And if you've got any feedback, hit us up on our socials. And yeah, like, that's also going to help too.
Also, suggest who you want on the podcast.
Yeah.
We've got the studio, we've got the space, we've got the equipment.
What other podcasts do you listen to that you'd like to know about? So, because we're not obviously just going to be interviewing the Supercoach Experience guys. Sabs is going to be interviewing it. We haven't got anything locked in yet, but
We've got a few names
we
locked
don't
in.
want to keep it as a
But
wraps.
Mikey, rightfully so, is going to be the first episode. So
and bank an episode before I head over to Europe. So yeah, it was fun.
yeah, cool. You going to come on, Timmy?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
I love hearing that story. So it's good because the story of especially you and Timmy getting to Supercoach. I was there the whole kind of ride in the background.
It was
like,
nearly
I
better
watched
than
it
our
happen.
story, wasn't it?
Yeah, they're both very different stories, but at the same time, for that story, like I was there watching the whole thing unfold. Like
Yeah.
I remember this guy hitting us up, and used to always interact. Like I was a part of seeing it from the start. And
Bro,
then
you're
obviously you come-
snowflakes. You're snowflakes. You were snowflakes.
What do you mean I was snowflakes?
You know how like
You were
snowflakes
metaphorical?
interaction. Yeah, no, like
Oh, yeah, but
Yeah.
I didn't put shit on yous back then. I put shit on yous now.
yeah, but you were. It's like Adrianosaurus. He'd be a great one to get on too because
He would.
The
He's
way
a-
he come into it, he was a fan. Like he was very similar to you, and then become good mates. Was part of us
Well,
for a little bit.
that's also different because he didn't jump on board and become our mate per se. He kind of
He does live in another state.
he lives in another state, but like he did his own thing. Like
Yeah.
it's exactly what he needed to do because he fucking loved that stuff.
And yeah, like 100%, he gave lots of good knowledge, and he's created a pretty good following. So they're
A loyal-
expect to see guys
There's
like
a great
that.
skill of talking to an audience by himself. I
Oh,
think
he
it's a
does,
very
he
hard
does, he
thing
really
to sort
does.
of
It's hard, eh?
maintain.
It's very,
and-
very
yeah,
hard.
he does that very
Barnesy
well.
also does that well. There's a few that not many can do it, man. It's tough.
I've tried and it's very tough. It's very tough because you get caught in your own thoughts as well. I can't even like when I've got 2 people, 3 people. If I'm talking for longer than 5 seconds, I'm like, fuck, I've lost everyone here.
But yeah,
like,
you can bounce off the person.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, anyway, so we're getting a bit off track.
But yeah, that'll be released Sunday, I assume. I've just got to get the all clear from the guys. to
Mikey's
make sure.
parents. He's got to sign off.
Yeah,
on it.
he's going to sign
No,
off.
it's all approved. Done.
Bit of X-rated content in there. Oh, I've got to bleep out some names as well. We spoke
Yeah,
some-
we got a bit of editing to do.
All right. Cheers for listening. Good luck with your Supercoach this week, and
Enjoy the buy round.
Yeah, enjoy the buy round. Not by James Graham. He does a podcast called the Buy Round.
Enjoy the Supercoach buy round.
Happy Supercoaching.
I love that. Yeah, but